Good. Good. All right, we'd like to call the regular session of the Richmond Exempted Village School District Board of Education meeting into session with an approval of the agenda. So it is recommended that the Board of Education approve the agenda as presented.
Also move. Second.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call.
Mrs. Story?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Wood? Yes. Mr. Sim?
Yes. All right, first item on the agenda is the recognition and awards.
So what time is it? Start with the best part of the agenda. Is Mr. Lilly here? Oh, there you are. Okay. Look at wonderful. So tonight's presentation comes from our middle school, and Mr. Lilly, I think you have two people you'd like to recognize.
I do. Good evening, everybody. It's always great to get to recognize one person, so to have two to be able to recognize, especially for a similar thing, is awesome. I have a student tonight that I want to recognize, as well as a staff member who have really been working in conjunction that I'll tell you a little bit about. So this is Kylie Boyer. She's a 6th grade student at the middle school. Kylie's an awesome student. I looked up her grades today just to check on her. She has A's and A+ in everything. She even has challenged herself. She's in an advanced math class as a 6th grade student and has carried an A+ in a couple of quarters in that class as well. So getting it done in the classroom. Also saw that she's only been sick one time, so she's been in school almost every single day this year, which is always a good indicator of success as well. So upon, well, she's also involved in band and choir. She's a busy kid. But upon entering the middle school, she also got involved outside of the school day with student council. In about December, started helping Ms. Stapleton, who I'm going to introduce in just a minute, with Project Lunchbox, which I'll explain more about in a minute. And after she got involved with Project Lunchbox, I think must have found a niche for herself and started volunteering her time, even outside of student council, to help Ms. Stapleton get things together. And has, according to Ms. Stapleton, been integral in getting the food out this school year, and has stated over and over what a role model this young lady is for the rest of the students in her grade. And all in all, the Project Lunchbox this year is feeding about 150 families every week. Wow. So amazing things. Amazing things. Thank you very much. Awesome. Ms. Stapleton, join us now, please. So this is Ms. Stapleton, who has been the other side of Project Lunchbox. Project Lunchbox, I think, started about 7 years ago, and Sarah took it over about 5 years ago. So she's been doing it for a minute now. This is her 9th year as a teacher here at the district, and she has been involved since day one with everything. I don't even know if everybody even notices all the things that she gets involved in. She's at everything. She's at sporting events. She's at choir events. She's at band events. She's at Saturday track meets when she doesn't have to be. I see her here at this building at 6 o'clock in the morning getting stuff out for Project Lunchbox. And I just saw her in the parking lot right now throwing some in somebody's truck. So there is a tremendous amount of work that she does, that goes in, and to be specific, it's 146 families that are being fed through Project Lunchbox. Just two amazing candidates and easy candidates to recommend for the Beth Webster Leading Line Award. Wow. And I know that award is also special for Sarah, with being as close to Beth as she was. So I'm extremely happy to give it to both.
Ms. Miller, that was a great presentation. Wow, Kylie and Sarah, that's incredible. That you're making a difference not just within the walls of the classroom or the walls of the building. You're making a difference well beyond, out into the community. And how important that is to know that you're making a difference in the lives of people. I mean, the most basic need is to feed people, and what you're doing is, can't thank you two enough for all that you're doing for pulling this together. Just amazing. Wow. Just 150 families, 146, incredible. Well deserved. We'd like to come get a picture of you behind the backdrop, if you could, please. I'm right here. You can write it.
Yeah, go. They're,
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, it's a team effort.
Here, I'll just let you hold that. I'll let mom and dad get
Thank you.
Three, two, one.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank
Great kid.
you.
Thank you so much. Got any more coming our way?
No, we've already had three years.
Oh, no, this is the last one?
Yeah, she's the last
She's the
one.
good one. Okay, all right. How wonderful.
Mr. Miller, I know you love unplanned things.
I love
I gotta steal 30 seconds if you, it's a recognition thing as well.
Okay.
I just wanna say thank you to everybody. You guys have been great. What an administrative team we have that's stood in and helped me through this process. Everybody's been in the building at some time or another. It's been awesome. This is part of what makes this district what this district is. Us being willing to help each other when we need it, no questions asked. So very simply, thank you to all of you. I very much appreciate it. We'll never be able to repay it. Thank you.
You did. Thank you, Mr. Lilly. Very nice.
Okay, next is public participation. So everybody we have 2 people to present today. They read over the procedures. So we'll start with Elizabeth Jounce first. Sorry. That's all right.
Hopefully I won't babble because that's who I am, but thank you for letting me speak. I'm going to speak on a hard topic. It's bullying, the video bullying, and defending oneself. Bullying is a summary of the handbook definition, written electronically or physically act of a student group, intimidating, threatening, or abusing in the educational environment. A little bit of a background, I have 2 children. Rebecca that's 13 and Joseph's 14. Unfortunately, both of them have experienced being bullied this year. Rebecca has since she started 6th grade at the middle school. But Rebecca was bullied in the hallway, in classroom, right in front of a teacher. The final straw with her though was it was actually done through the school computers and their email, which in the handbook that specifically states that a harsh punishment is to be given. Well, Rebecca, being as scared as she was, being bullied as she was, 13 did not want to speak up. So I took off time to advocate for my daughter, brought the printouts of the emails, and these were not small emails, sent to her telling her basically to kill herself, which of course Mama got really mad. So I put the documentation, printed it, sat in the office of the middle school, right outside on the bench, for a good 2.5 hours until somebody would speak to me. She was given the opportunity to express herself, but being as scared as she was, she did not do anything. And according to the school staff, since she could not vocalize what was happening, nothing would happen. And that is exactly what happened. The girls basically got a smack on the wrist, said, "Do not do that again." All that helped was the girls realized, I don't need to leave a paper trail. So they kept bullying her even after she was told to stop. Now Joseph, on the other hand, is a very passive boy. He is very lovely, he gets along with everybody, normally things don't bother him. He's unfortunately been through it all because of the way he is and acts. With Joseph's 10 years in this school district, he has never once been an aggressor. He has never once said anything to harm another child. You can talk to anybody he comes in contact with. He's a joy to have in class. He's very polite. On April the 14th, Joseph finally had enough. He was on the school bus. A sixth grader was sitting behind him. According to the bus rules and the bus driver, sixth grades are not supposed to go past, junior high is not supposed to go past the seat and be with the high schoolers. Well, this isn't the first time this young man had done that. Well, he began to slapping, physically harming my son over and over and over again. At least 13 times I was shown. This was videotaped by another student and spread through the entire school in probably 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Joseph then was given a suspension for his actions. He did finally have enough. I'm very proud of him. He stood up for himself. He did turn around, even though he doesn't know how to punch and he broke his hand. He did hit the boy back about 8 times, which frustration builds, I get it. He did a little too much. The boy did start to cry, which was also on the video. My son did make a comment, I can't take it, this was round 3, I'm enough. So, according to his suspension, Joseph was the aggressor. Joseph was playing with this child and then just decided to beat the crap out of him. Which, this video that I have with me is not that case. But I am trying to appeal Joseph's suspension because I do not officially know what the other boys and the video person received as punishment, but I was told that they would. Joseph, just standing up for himself, got 3 days suspension. The suspension says, which is now on his record, that he was the aggressor. He pounded this boy 15 times in the head, which he couldn't reach anything else, but again, that's on the video. But we have tried, and he has done very well to defuse the situation. On the video, you can see him minding his own business. When the boy started hitting him, he turned again, he turned around. He tried. According to the bus driver, you can't move. He had no other choice. And I've always told him, if you try everything, you gotta stand up for yourself, you're gonna get it again. But the handbook that everybody was given in the beginning of school states that a physical or electronic student that causes harm to another will be suspended or expelled. In my opinion, these have not been implemented. Even my daughter to this day is still getting tormented at the middle school for just being Rebecca. I know it is a very hard thing to do, and I don't have the answer, but I can tell you that my children have done nothing to be getting bullied. My daughter has gotten to the point where she wants to do schools. She wants us out of here. Now my son still loves everybody at school. You know, he's getting a lot of help, that's fine. But something has got to be done for the kids that are getting bullied and bullied and bullied and not being stood up for. The bullies are getting protected because, well, what did they do? They didn't really deserve this. No, they did.
About 1 minute.
So, you know, I'm almost done. But I really would love, Becca's instance is done, fine. But Joseph's, I tried to call the superintendent Friday night, today, 3 times. I get voicemails. Something has got to be done for these kids that keep getting bullied and not being stood up to, or being able to stand up, because now my daughter knows she better not tell anybody because tormenting get worse. Joseph just got suspended. He was scared enough to call his father to come pick him up. The boy that hit him was still at school, came home on the bus. You know, so something's got to be done. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right, next, Karen K. Hall.
evening. I'm here to speak to you about my concerns about school safety in the light of your decision to move ahead with your plan to arm teachers. I've written to each of you my concerns several times, and I want to take this opportunity to publicly thank Mr. Wells and Mrs. Story for having the courtesy to engage with me on this topic. As we all know, the issue of school shootings has been a growing concern in our country, with a heartbreaking number of incidents taking place in recent years. We cannot ignore the tragic events that continue to take place in our schools, and I understand and share your desire to do everything in our power to prevent that violence from happening here. Our national and state elected leaders seem frozen in their ability to come up with real solutions, and so the burden of determining how to best protect our children falls to us. New Richmond has made positive strides toward creating a safety net of mental health services by implementing the crisis reporting system and by practicing armed shooter drills. Recently, our state government decided that an additional deterrent to the murder of our school children could be to arm teachers and other staff members. However, once again, refusing to truly lead on this weighty issue, they determined that the consequential decision to arm teachers would just be left up to individual districts. So I have looked at the law, and it is my understanding that this board will be permitted to authorize any staff member or visitor in school who has undergone just 24 hours of training and submits to an annual background check to carry a concealed firearm. It is also my understanding that the law does not require that other staff members have knowledge of which of their coworkers are carrying weapons. This is just a recipe for disaster, and the majority of districts around the state and the majority of teachers in this district know it. The results of the survey that the board sent out show that the majority of teachers would feel less safe having armed staff, and the New Richmond Teachers Union survey recently given to its members also shows that a majority of teachers are against arming staff. I would humbly ask that you listen to your teachers, because if and when an active shooter situation does happen in New Richmond schools, it won't be board members sitting in classrooms of 25 terrified children, it will be teachers. It won't be parents who have to make the decision about if it would be better to run or to hide in place when we hear gunshots down the hallway. It will be teachers. Every time there is a shooting, my mind goes to the faces of the children in my classroom. The Uvalde shooting, the Nashville shootings, these murdered children are the same age as the children I've spent my entire career working with. Doing a quick calculation, I think I've taught close to about 2,000 children in my career. And I believe I've taught the children or grandchildren of 4 out of the 5 board members. You have my experience, and you have the expertise of the majority of your teachers telling you that this is not the way to go. It's important to recognize that teachers are not trained law enforcement officers, and the responsibility of carrying a firearm requires extensive training and ongoing practice. The 24-hour training required by the state of Ohio is nowhere near enough to ensure that teachers will know how to react in such a stressful situation. We have seen that even trained law enforcement officers struggle when confronted with classrooms of children being threatened with armed shooters. How will armed teachers know what their priorities should be in this situation? Will you be asking them to leave their terrified children as they go out and hunt down the gunman? Will you be asking teachers to leave their own children unattended as they seek out a shooter? Arming teachers can lead to unintended consequences. In a high-stress situation, even trained law enforcement officers have been known to make mistakes. And how will first responders be able to quickly determine which are the good guys with the guns, which are the bad guys? Are we going to hand out rifles to our teachers? AR-15s seem to be the weapon of choice of school shooters. Are you planning to put a kindergarten teacher with a Glock up against a killer with an AR-15? It would be about the same as giving her a pea shooter. Arming teachers who do not have the same level of training as school resource officers could lead to unintentional injuries or even deaths. I will leave with you a list of 100 publicly reported incidents of firearms having been mishandled in schools in just the last 5 years. These incidents range from having a gun fall out of a teacher's waistband as she did a cartwheel, to students finding guns in unattended purses of staff members, to guns inadvertently being discharged around children. The frequency and severity of these incidents can only increase with an increased number of guns on school campuses. Have you considered the possibility of adding additional trained school resource officers? I understand that the governor has promised additional safety funds to Ohio schools. It makes so much more sense to hire additional trained personnel than it does to start asking teachers to take on the role of security guards. Arming teachers would not address the root causes of school violence. I again commend the board for your leadership in creating the crisis response teams and protocols. We must address the underlying issues that lead to these tragedies, including mental health, bullying, the proliferation of hate against marginalized populations, gun violence, and the accessibility of firearms. The majority of school shootings are carried out by individuals who have a history of mental health issues, and we need to prioritize access to mental health resources for our students and their families. Speaking of mental health professionals also oppose bringing weapons into our schools. The National Association of School Psychologists strongly opposes arming teachers as a strategy for preventing gun violence on school grounds. This group joins virtually every other organization representing school and safety professionals in recognizing that arming school staff is wrong. Doing so places an unrealistic, unreasonable burden on America's educators, has the potential to cause more harm from unintentional or inaccurate discharge of firearms, and can undermine the sense of safe, supportive learning environments. Have you spoken to our mental
About
health therapists
1 minute
working in New Richmond? Hearing the voices of our own healthcare professionals in this district should be given the highest priority. As a teacher, I'm committed to creating a safe and nurturing environment for my students, and I believe that arming teachers is not a safe or effective solution to the epidemic of school violence. Thank you. Here's that list if you are interested.
Thank you. All right. Committee reports.
Mr. Fall's not here today, so there won't be a great career center report.
Personnel committee.
Yes, we met on the 13th of April. Several highlighting topics covered. Specifically, we talked about summer school and the plan to continue to use ESSER funds, but targeting a smaller group of students this year, looking specifically at third graders at risk to repeat third grade, and in high school, targeting those with advanced dropout risks or needing credit recovery. We also talked about the ESC contract, where we're just projecting our needs for next year with the Department of Special Ed Services. Looks fairly similar to this year. And talked initially about a supplemental study. The last time we did a review of the supplemental pay for both athletic and non-athletic contracts was in 2011. So that's early on in discussions, but we need to consider that all of these individuals touch kids and interact with kids, and we need to make sure we're paying them to make sure we have quality connections. That's all I got.
Yeah. All right, superintendent's report.
Sure. 3 items to share with the board this evening in our community is at long last, we're going to begin our pilot of the Ride 360 program. We've been talking about this for some time, where a select group of students, to begin with about 120, will have chipped badges that when they get on the bus, they'll scan in, and when they get off the bus, they'll scan out. It takes just not even a second to do that. Our parents won't be able to, if they'll have instructions on this, will be able to download an app so that they can see when the bus is coming, which I would think in really bad weather, that would be wonderful to know the bus is 30 seconds out versus 10 minutes out. They'll know their kid got on the bus, and they'll know when their kid gets off the bus and goes into the school. I think this would be the gold standard for safety and security for our kids and our parents. We've paid for this with ESSER monies, and again, the pilot project is rolling out this week. We have, I think, 2 buses for Locust Corner, 1 for Monroe, and so we'll pilot it, we'll see how it goes, we'll take care of any issues, and our long-term plan was to bring this to every student in the district, but we also want to have less people handling money. where kids could use this for their lunchroom charges. They could use it for athletic events. So that's the long-term plan, and we think it'll be great, but we're beginning to roll that out. So for any of our parents that are affected, this is for you. The second thing, and really the timing is great, is to talk about, just to really talk about our mental health supports that we provide for our students. It's become a huge initiative of our district this year. All of our buildings are fully invested. We bring in some outside corporations to develop partnerships with. So a couple things about that. Not everybody watches our board meetings. I know it's a shock, but not everybody watches these on video, right? But as much word as we can get out as possible, and I'll work with our communications director, is, well, what resources are there? And they say the goal is you want things to be within 2 clicks on your web page. And everybody wants everything on the splash page, but you can't have everything on your splash page. So the first thing, though, is because of its importance, is if there's an issue, you can get an app on your phone. If you don't have a phone, your device, or you can go right to the website. It's the Stay Safe Speak Up app, and you click on that, and there it is. You can submit a written report, or you can make a phone call. What happens is, as soon as they get, it's like within seconds, as soon as they're submitted, I get those, whatever building it is, the building principal gets those, our SRO gets those, the counselors get those. There's like 6, 7 contacts. Like, it happens right now. If it's something of a, where significant bodily harm could be caused, and it's over the weekend, they call me. They will call me. And if I'm not available, maybe I'm sleeping or something, they'll call either Dr. Hollingsworth or call John. They will call until they get a hold of somebody and say, you need to look at your public school works report. It works like a charm. And the beauty of this is then twice a month or twice a year, and we'll do it at the end of this year, I'll submit the reports of what we've received here. Everything that's reported has to have a response. Everything that's reported has to have a response, so that if it gets submitted, it will be dealt with. It may not be dealt with to everybody's satisfaction, but it'll have a consequence in there if one is deserved. So I encourage everyone, we brought this in about a year ago. Please use this. I can't tell you how many things we know about ahead of time which has helped us. We're not mind readers, and kids know a lot more, and parents know a lot more. Help us out, let us know, and it'll be dealt with. The second thing I want to share is also, it's not on the splash page, but it's 2 clicks down. If we talk about just our community resource guide. Now, this is a compendium that's been put together for over a couple of years, but we provide a lot of resources. If you just go to this 1 click on our safe and drug-free schools, here's some of our mental health specialists that we are in contract with. Then also over here, there's a community resource guide. If you click on here, it's got all the different categories of how we can support kids and support really parents, resources that are in our community. That when you're facing a life crisis, you don't necessarily want to take the time to Google search, for some kind of a solution. You can come here, and all of these are hyperlinks that you click on, that you can be taken then to these resources to help out. So just wanted to highlight a couple things that we're doing to Stay Safe, Speak Up. Is we've talked about this, we've talked about it, but this we haven't talked about as much, but it's here. It's just under the student parent tab, click on community resources, and it takes you to a whole bevy of resources. The last thing I'd like to mention, if I don't lose my place, is we are also starting the open enrollment process for inter-district. So for parents who have students here that live in another district, now's the time to apply. If the window is open until June 15th, then there's nothing special in being the first one to apply. You can apply at midnight June 15th and you're still going to be in. But if you go to the student parent website again, you go to all student registration. It's time for preschool. It's time for kindergarten. And if you'd like to apply for open enrollment, you click here and you click there and you apply for open enrollment. And again, a change we made some years ago, which was a really good change, even if you've been approved, you have to apply again every year. You got to apply every year. So, Mr. Zimmerman, those are my 3 topics for today.
Okay, thank you. All right, number 8 on the agenda is grievance resolution.
Yeah, just quick, I'm asking the board to authorize me to resolve a grievance that we're currently involved in. It's just within the parameters that we've already discussed.
It is recommended that the Board of Education authorize the superintendent to execute grievance resolution.
So moved.
I'll second.
All right, any discussion? Okay, roll call.
Mr. Zimmerman?
Yes.
Mr. Wood? Yes. Mr. Wells? Yes. Mrs. Story?
Yes.
Okay, next item is ESC agreement.
Yeah, this is a yearly standing item. The 9 districts that feed into the Claremont County Education Services Center, we need specialized services that we're not big enough to hire a full-time person. If we need speech therapy, we may need speech therapy 4 hours a week, for example, so we're not gonna be able to hire that out. But all the smaller districts have these similar needs, and the ESC is able to contract that and provide us the services we need. So if you go to the last page of the contract, there's 2 columns. One that says, here's what you use new written for 22-23, there's an X in the box. And they're just assuming if you need these for the 23-24 school year, they mark those boxes, and then they price it out on the back page. It's not saying we're going to use these services. If we have a student that is utilizing these services and moves to another district, then obviously we wouldn't utilize these services. They're saying it's a buffet line, if you use it, here's what it would cost. So again, it's a yearly standing item that we have. You have to entertain any questions.
Okay. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the ESC agreement for the 23-24 school year as presented.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion or questions? Okay, roll call.
All right. Mrs. Story?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman?
Yes.
Mr. Wood? Yes. Mr. Wells? Yes.
Okay, item 10, human resource items.
Thanks so much. Just a few items for the consent items. We have a classified and a certified request for resignation for retirement. We're gonna have the opportunity to hire some new teachers as we say goodbye to our veteran and cherished staff members. We're gonna bring some new ones in, and we met these 3 last week, and I'm really excited about them joining our ranks. Same for a classified employee, I'm asking. Another substitute. And as we've done the past several years, I'm asking the blank to just blanket authorize us to hire people to work summer school. That way we're not, going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Just everybody can work if they so chooses. Includes bus drivers, food service workers, and Mrs. Story has indicated it's going to be a much more narrow focus this summer anyway. And those are the consent items, Mr. Zimmerman.
Okay. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve items 10A through 10E.
So moved.
I'll second.
Any questions? Okay, roll call.
All right. Mr. Wells? Yes. Mr. Wood? Yes. Mrs. Story?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman?
Yes. Treasurer's report.
Mr. Zimmerman, really short items for the treasurer's report. The item A is for approval of last regular board meeting for March. Item B is the approval of financial reports. Thank you, Mr. Malik. I think the big things to watch here is just a total inflow and outflow. So money coming in, money coming out. There's a little low on money going out, a little high on money coming in. Those are both good things.
Those are good things.
They're not huge numbers, but they're both good things.
Take care
So
of
if
it.
you're curious about how to just really look at those numbers and just summarize them, that's the best way to do it. We did get a big real estate payment last month. We're still waiting on a couple of payments for public utility property tax and some deregulation payments coming in. Everything else going out is a lot of it's just salary benefits. We don't expect a whole lot of big ticket items, capital items for a remainder of the year. On par there. Item C is acceptance of donations. We are always happy to have donations. The big line item is the bottom one for the Monroe PTO. They were collecting money for Beth Webster to utilize out there for Beth, and they contacted my department and asked if they could just donate that money to her scholarship fund. Anyway, so they're doing that, and they've done it for over $5,000. We're very appreciative to see that. And that is all I have for the group.
Okay, it is recommended that the Board of Education approve items 11A through item 11C.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? Okay, roll call.
Mrs. Story?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman?
Yes. All right, academic report.
Good evening. Thanks for allowing me to provide an academic update. First, I'd like to reiterate what Mr. Miller said before and share that our pre-K and kindergarten registration is now live, and parents wishing to register their child can access the forms through a direct link like he showed you on the district's website. And secondly, I just wanted to give another small update about our K-12 math adoption. Our committees have spent the entire year in review, and after much analysis, the teams invited presentations. I think I mentioned at the last board meeting, 9 total programs and publishers. The 6th through 12th grade team has one program that they unanimously agree would meet the needs of our students best, and our elementary team has narrowed their choice to 2 programs. To get even richer information for their analysis, the elementary committee sent 6 representatives, so a subcommittee, to view both programs that they're considering in action with live students in live classrooms in 2 different districts. They also had the opportunity to get feedback on those programs from the teachers in those 2 districts. The elementary committee will continue their discussions and decision making, and both groups plan to make a recommendation to the board at the board meeting in May for first reading to consider the programs that they think would best meet their needs.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Communications report.
Oh, I have visual aids this week. So the first one up there is going to be a video that was submitted to me by one of our teachers on last year. This is Clyde Parker. He's a student at the middle school, and he built this steam engine without any instruction by himself in about a 2-week period.
Tell me when you're filming.
I'm filming.
When I first watched that video, I remember thinking back to my senior year of high school. I had a solid 6 months to build a robot and just could not get it to do anything, even with all the instructions in the world. So the fact that he was able to do that just really impressed me.
In his spare time.
In his spare time,
He built a robot, yeah.
As one does, just
Right.
casually building a
Right.
steam engine.
Right.
The other it's not as much visual as that one, it's more audio. The advanced ELA students over at the middle school listened to a radio play. Dark They Were in Golden Eye, and they decided they wanted to make their own. So 7 groups made their own little radio plays. They wrote their own scripts. They worked with Jordan Petrie, the technology coach, to help put in little sound effects and things like that to make all of these. And they made it on The Last Dog. So this is one of those 7 projects that was founded by Andrea Schultz's class. They're all fantastic.
Ms. Schultz, you're trying to hide that. You're right, no. Anything you'd like to add some flavor to this?
It was totally student-led.
Yeah.
This was something that was not in our curriculum, that the original radio play was. And as we were discussing it, one of them said, hey, we should do our own. And I said, that sounds great, but you need to run it by Mr. Lilly first, because we're deviating from the curriculum. And so in this unit, our focus was argumentative writing. So they had to come up with a proposal, give reasons why, we called for it down. They convinced him, so we ran with it.
Wonderful.
It was a lot of fun.
Wonderful.
A lot of fun.
It's, let's see here. So I don't do that.
Which one did you end up taking? Group 2?
Lower left corner.
Lower left corner.
So it's a science fiction story, The Last Dog. The community lives in a bubble, and one of the inhabitants decides he's going to venture out.
Sorry, you may not get the sound. Sorry.
00956700038. What is your reason for travel outside the safety of the dome? Scientific research. Time of return, 1800 hours. Have you acquired the measured amount of food pellets in the 750 milliliters of water? Affirmative. I think so. Yeah. Turn on universal locator and proceed to gate. I'm okay. I'm not crazy. This is what I want. I think. Maybe I am crazy. That's why everyone thinks I'm so weird for going outside the dome. I mean, that meeting with the podmaster and the research representative, they really think I'm a deviant. Deviants disappear. They said that the deviants went outside, but who knows?
Sound effects.
They got a lot of fun with sound effects.
Hot. Oh, I remember hot from one of my virtual lessons. The sun, the desert. Oh, hot. Yeah, I'm not sure I like it. No, where is that button? Okay, that's better. Not good, but better. I should take off this suit. No, burning. Bad. Sun. Bad. Am I the only person curious about the outside? It's my fault if I don't return and something goes wrong. Wait, that's a tree. No, they said trees were extinct, but here's one, and the leaves, they have veins. Have to take this back to research. Loneliness. Pride. Loneliness. Pride? Do I actually miss the dome? The place of no water. Water. Wait, is that... Wait, I know that sound. It sounds like a brook. I remember that from my virtual lesson. What should I do? I need to find it for, scientific research. I'll follow the sound. Yes, that's what I'll do. I'll find it. I have to. Yes, I found it. Jeez, what is that thing? Hey there, I'm not gonna hurt you. Wow, is that your mom? It's okay. You don't need a mom. It's not like I have one. I was born with a tube and a petri dish. Hey, I'm sorry, I'm just surprised. They just said you guys were extinct. Are you hungry? I know it's not much, but this pellet is all I have. Let's head home. And trust me, Brog, if there were any way we would not have to go back to customs, we would totally go that way. You are late, Brock. 095670038. Affirmative. You have organic material. I pulled a leaf. I detect a warm-blooded organism. Found a dog. Repeat. A dog. Canis familiaris is extinct. Well, maybe it's just a robot pet that got out somehow. Correction. Robopets are bloodless. Leave dry suit for sterilization and proceed to quarantine inspection. Leave dog to research. Wait, I get to keep it? Don't question my generosity.
Wow, is that a Canis familiaris? But they're extinct.
Yeah, this is a real, warm-blooded dog.
Well, we will have to take it to our closed research facility. I would be pleased to take her.
Actually, can I take her myself?
Okay.
Oh, and she'll need food. Pellets are unusual for her.
Very well. Bring out the McLight burgers! Well, to the lab with you.
3 weeks later. Wow, bro, this has been a great time. Just you and me and all the McLight burgers you can eat.
Everything's gonna be okay in there.
Yes, sir, I've taught her so much. I mean, she can sit and walk and make this cute little face.
Oh, very well. Then have a good night's sleep.
This dog has so much potential. I mean, we could clone this thing and it would be so good for the dog community.
And how do you suspect we raise a herd of dogs? This one is already eating us out of test tubes and petri dishes.
Then we will test it then for science.
Shh. What? You idiot. The intercom is on. The boy just heard everything.
Oh no. Brog, we gotta get out of here. Rabies might work.
Brock, we have.
Thank you for listening to Group 2's adaptation of the short story The Last Dog. Script by Emma Wilshire and Kaden Manning. Head of Sound Effects, Leland Chester. Assistant Sound Effect Manager, Lillian McCune. Now the characters, in order of appearance. Scanner Main Computer, voiced by Emma Wilshire. Brock, voiced by Emma Wilshire. Researcher 1, voiced by Kaden Manning. Researcher 2, voiced by Lily McCune. Narrator, voiced by Emma Wilshire. Old Guy Scientist, voiced by Kaden Manning. Scientist 1.
I'm really glad that we made it to the McDonald's sound effect. It really brought the whole thing together. I mean, there's 6 more of them. They're all just as great as that one was.
I'm sorry we didn't have the sound was not able to go through. Yeah, very good. I'm sure the kids had a wonderful time.
They absolutely had a wonderful time.
Wonderful. Well done. Well done.
The last thing that I have, because I know he's going to love me mentioning this, is I just wanted to congratulate Doug Foote for being named the Southwest Ohio Athletic Director Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrator Association AD of the Year for this past year.
Nice.
So,
Very nice.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shaker. Thank you so much.
We need to get you another computer besides an
All right. Good work.
Okay, to close out here, it is recommended that the Board of Education enter into executive session for the purpose of consideration of the appointment, employment, dismissal, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee in accordance with Ohio Revised Code 121.22.
So moved.
Yeah.
I'll second.
Okay. Roll call.
Mrs. Story,
Yes.
Mr. Wells,
Yes.
Mr. Wood,
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman.
Yes.